Hey guys, Chris Williams, real estate investor, coming to you from Central California. Today, we're just going to be quickly going over what exactly wholesaling real estate is and how you can get started. Now, I have been wholesaling and flipping houses here in California since 2010, so just over 15 years. I've done hundreds of transactions, and my goal here is just to be able to provide as much value to you and share my experiences with you as much as possible. So if you get value out of it, please like and subscribe if you're on YouTube or Rumble or anything like that. But now also, if you're in the car, you can listen here on Spotify and iTunes through The Real Flip Show. You can catch these episodes. So the term wholesale or wholesaling generally refers to a low purchase price compared to the actual retail value of something. But today, speaking on real estate, we're going to specifically discuss assigning contracts for a fee. Now, you can actually close escrow on the home, become the owner, and turn around and sell it for a higher price. That is still considered wholesaling, but we are going to be speaking about assigning a contract. So if you don't know a contract, we'll just use this little piece of paper, right? It's a lead sheet, but we'll just pretend it's a contract. A contract is personal property. So all personal property is sellable and transferable. When we go and approach a homeowner and we agree on a purchase price, and then I go and sign a purchase agreement with me as the buyer, that contract is now my personal property. Actually, my rights to buy the home is considered legally my personal property. So now I can transfer that right, assign it, or I can sell it, assign it for a fee. And so that is exactly what wholesaling is. So realistically, it is finding a motivated seller, generally motivated seller, that is willing to sell for less than what a cash buyer would want to buy for. So hypothetically, let's say I am speaking to a seller and we're in conversation and we come to an agreement of me buying that home for $200,000. On that contract, it is a purchase agreement. And me, Chris Williams, is the buyer and homeowner Joe is the seller. And now on that contract has all the terms. It has the address, the APN, the purchase price, and then, the close of date, the escrow company, all that kind of stuff, the terms, who is responsible for what during that escrow period. And once I have that signed, I'm going to send that to a title company who's going to open escrow. Here in California, title and escrow is usually controlled by the same company. So escrow will be opened. And then now that I have escrow open, I can take that contract. I can go to my cash buyers and I can say, hey, cash buyers, I have this deal here and I will sell it to you for, say, $220,000. And so if I get a cash buyer that wants to buy it at that price, instead of me selling the house to them for $220,000, realistically, what I'm doing is I am assigning my right to buy that home for a fee of $20,000. So that is what the assignment fee is. Now I have that assignment of contract. That is a separate contract between me and the cash buyer, outlining again the details, the rights, the terms, the responsibilities of that escrow period. And I am going to sign it as the assignor, right? Or the OR, that is the giver, the givor. I am assigning my contract that I have with the homeowner to this new cash buyer for the fee of $20,000. Now, you can get paid out of escrow. There's nothing illegal about that. They could just cut you a check and then you say, here's the contract, you take it over. But generally, I like to be paid through escrow because I feel like it's a better paper trail. So once that cash buyer signs my assignment of contract, I will then take that contract over to the same escrow company, give it to them and say, hey, here is the new buyer. He is buying my contract for a fee of $20,000. So now when the escrow company puts together the closing package for the buyer, on their closing settlement statement, it will show the $200,000 purchase price, all the closing fees, closing costs, escrow fees, whatever is associated with that. Plus, on there will be an itemized item that says assignment fee or assignment of contract to Chris Williams, and that item amount will be $20,000. So now when that cash buyer goes and funds or wires in the amount, they have to wire the entire amount, right? The $200,000 that me and the seller agreed to, the $20,000 to me, plus whatever escrow fees are associated with that. So let's just call that another $2,000, right? So they have to now wire $220,000 over to the escrow company's bank, and then they get that money and then they split it, right? So they pay the fees They pay my $20,000 assignment fee, and then they give the remaining $200,000 to the seller. Or if there's a mortgage owed or lien owed or anything like that, those will be paid out, and then the seller gets the proceeds. So in a nutshell, that is wholesaling houses. Now, why I love wholesaling is if you want to go fix and flip a house, I mean, that's awesome. I fix and flip, I wholesale. I love it. But if you're just getting started, you're going to have to raise the capital to buy the home, raise the capital to pay for the repairs. You have to manage a contractor. You have to manage the monthly expenses of insurance and utilities and whatever else. And then you're going to be responsible for then selling it at a price that you make a profit. Now, that's not bad. It can be a good, simple process. I don't know if any flip I've ever done has ever been simple. I mean, there's probably been a couple that have just been like, this just seems oddly smooth. But for the most part, things come up. Repairs end up going over budget. People break in, they break things. You got to go over budget that you had planned on. Sometimes when you're in escrow to sell, buyers drop out. People get divorced in escrow. People lose their job during escrow. So you may go through 2 or 3 buyers. But honestly, that's just part of the business. That's what you have to deal with when you are the actual owner of the property, selling the property. Now, again, I don't say that to dissuade it. I think fix and flipping is amazing. But wholesaling just eliminates so many more of those moving parts and the risks that you take on, right? When I go and I sign a purchase agreement and I'm out there trying to assign this contract for a fee, generally the risk I take on is just losing the deal and not make anything. I generally don't put up the earnest money deposit. I have my buyer do it. Now, there obviously nothing is 100% risk-free. I mean, walking down the street is not 100% risk-free. So there is a possibility of getting sued or somebody backdooring you and going directly to the owner. Honestly, again, 15 years of me doing this, hundreds of properties. I actually haven't once had that happen. I've never had one of my own buyers go behind my door, go behind me and sign a deal with the owner. And I've never had somebody come and threaten to sue me when I've had to go back out of a deal or cancel because I either couldn't sell it or I realized, hey, I overvalued this thing. I underestimated the repairs. It's only happened a handful of times, thankfully, where I've had to go back and either renegotiate or cancel, but it does happen. But again, it does eliminate or really reduce a lot of the risk that buying an actual fix and flip gives to yourself. So the main thing with wholesaling houses is you do need sellers, right? You need homeowners or property owners that are in a situation where they either want to or they have a very big need to sell at a discount, which is why, we pursue motivated sellers. So I go after homes that are in default or homes that are vacant or boarded up or they have been owned by a landlord for 20, 30, 40 years. Now, that doesn't always mean that they will be willing to sell at a discount, but those are what I consider motivating factors, right? There are factors in their life or factors against the property that could warrant a discounted price, right? So a lot of times someone may have a rental, tenants stop paying rent, they then have to evict the tenant. That could take 3, 6, 12 months, depending on your state and county. And finally, that landlord gets the keys to the home. They go in and it's completely thrashed, right? So what was once a cash flowing asset to them now might need $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in repairs. It's just a huge headache. So for somebody like that, they could then want to go and take a quick cash offer because to them, really the assurity of being done with this property in the next 7 to 10 days may be worth it for them to take a discount on that sales price. And honestly, don't cut yourself short. Don't cut all these sellers short, because a lot of times people will hear about wholesaling and let's say, well, who on earth would sell at a discount? That doesn't make sense. Honestly, there are thousands of motivating factors as to why somebody would sell at a discount. And honestly, they don't have to be in default, and it doesn't even have to be a fixer-upper. There's times where I just deal with a homeowner who may have inherited the home 20, 30 years ago. They've kind of been an accidental landlord. They've let family live there. Maybe the house isn't really thrashed, but they're just at a point where they're just tired of dealing with it, right? Oftentimes people will rent to family and they skip out on rent, or they're, jerks to the landlord. And so talking to somebody, they could be like, hey, I inherited this home from my parents 20 years ago. It has not been a good experience for me. And honestly, I just want to get rid of the home. I don't want to go there anymore. So somebody like that, maybe that house is worth $350 fixed up and it just needs some light remodeling. And maybe they're willing to take $250 or $240 or $230, whatever that could be, if there is a promise of a fast, easy sale on the back end. So you do need those motivated sellers. I have lots of videos. There's also lots of videos out there that go over how to find these motivated sellers, how to contact them, which could be through direct mail, cold texting, cold calling, door knocking. You also need all the contracts, the purchase agreement for you and the seller, and then the assignment of contract between you and the cash buyer. I actually provide all this for free. It's just one of the many ways that I try to give back here. I have a Google Drive that I just call my dump file or swipe files, where I just take the stuff that I use, my contracts, scripts, direct mail pieces, and I just drop it into this Google Drive so that people like you can go get these things for absolutely free. You can download them, use them, edit them, whatever you want to do. So you can actually go to therealflipshow.com, and that will just directly take you straight to that Google Drive. You can get that stuff for free. Or if you're on YouTube, you can click the link in the description or on the pinned comment, and you could just grab that stuff for free. And then really, extremely important, you need a wholesaling friendly escrow company. Like I said, here in California, it's title and escrow kind of in one company, but you need an escrow officer that understands assignment of contracts and understands how to split all that stuff up in the closing statements. So when I wholesale here in California, the seller doesn't actually see my fee that I get because it's not a seller paid item. So on the actual closing settlement statement, it will show everything the seller paid. It could be back property taxes. If we agreed to split closing costs 50-50, right? That'll show on there because it's a seller paid item. Now on the buyer's settlement statement, it will show the assignment fee because it's a buyer paid fee. My preference is that there are, split settlement statements where just each party has their own. So you'll need to call around different title companies and ask them if they handle assignment of contracts. But realistically, if you want to know what companies do that kind of deal in your market, I would just be reaching out to other flippers and wholesalers in your market and ask them, hey, what escrow company are you using to close your wholesale deals? Specifically that, not just, hey, what title company do you use to close deals? Because any fix and flipper can use any escrow company, but not every escrow company will take assignments. So you want to ask them, what title company or what escrow company do you use to close your wholesale deals, and get those referrals. Now, obviously, with wholesaling, you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to go learn every single little detail as far as how much it costs to paint a home or how much it costs to do flooring or anything like that. Although that stuff definitely helps in negotiating, and it helps in being able to package these deals up and email them out. But realistically, the main thing you want to do, get your cash buyers, ask them questions, and get an idea of what they look for in a deal so that you can send them exactly that. So if you're looking at cash comps, hopefully you have access to cash comps, then you can see, just say hypothetically, you're talking to a seller and you look up cash comps and you see generally houses that need some work are plus or minus $100,000. That's kind of a starting point for you. So at the end of the day, you could probably sell this thing for $100,000. So where's your starting point, right? What do you want to do? Do you want to make 20 grand? Do you want to make 30 grand? So if you start your offer at 70,000, and let's say just through negotiating, that seller finally agrees to 85,000, right? Now you can lock up this house for 85,000, and you know that generally cash sales are happening around $100,000 in this specific neighborhood. Similar bedroom, bath, similar square footage, similar condition. So that just gives you a good reference point, right? Like you don't have to know strictly down to the exact detail. Hey, this house is going to be $65,000 in repair. You could just have a general idea of what sales are in that neighborhood. Hey, if you're getting value out of this, again, please like and subscribe. If you are listening on Spotify, iTunes, anything like that, please subscribe. Drop a comment too. If you have any questions as far as wholesaling or flipping, please drop a comment and I will do my best to respond to you. Again, if you need those contracts, the purchase agreement, the assignment of contract, if you need cold call scripts, direct mail examples, go to therealflipshow.com and download those things for free. Hey, Chris Williams, I'll see you next time.